Millington Township meeting. No. Oh. Is that an Apple? Community conference speaker. And who's that motion? Say it again, Bob.
Testing.
It's responding to your work. So it's like.
Your body in a little bit of space. You don't need it. Yes, you have sound.
Okay, I'll sound off.
Rest of your Close meeting order. Lori, you do the roll call, please.
Turn sound.
Yes, here.
Finance
Here.
Loomis,
Here.
Cook,
Here.
Cameron.
Please silence all cell phones. Do a pledge of allegiance. We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I make a motion, we approve the agenda as written. It's been a motion to approve the agenda as written, but second, is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passed. The January 20th, 25th regular township board meeting minutes.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented. January 20th, 2025.
It's been a motion to accept the minutes as written for January 20th, 2025. If that's second, is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passed. Okay, treasurer's report and paying the bills. I'll make the motion to pay the bills. I'll support that. We've had a motion to pay the bills, been supported. Is there any discussion? Not lawyer, any roll call, please?
Cook,
Yes.
Loomis,
Yes.
Finance, yes, Tarzell,
Yes.
Cameron, yes.
Motion passed. Public comment. Hey, you wanna?
Yeah. I'm just very concerned with the resistance fence on Corey Drive. It was issued in 22. I'm giving you some information there. The fence was replaced. There was a 6-foot wooden fence there. It's been replaced. And it was issued. There's a survey there that says that that fence is 3 feet outside of the property line. That was the wooden fence. The chain link fence that's up there's now is even farther out past where that warning fence was. The green screen that was up is now partially down. It's still up. You still can't see around that corner. The one fence post when you come around the corner is within 2 foot of the roadway. We've got, I don't know what we got now, 10 or 12 inches of snow out there. And trying to plow that, we can't plow into the road easement on the right, be on the right hand side. I can't plow that way. So everything's gotta go off to the left, and then that drops off because we're up on the hill there. So it's to me it's a hazard. I know I've hit a couple people on there, just come around that corner, saw them slid on the ice. I just hit a dog last week, my neighbor's dog. I slid, he slid, dog slid in the front fender. My sister's almost been in an accident in that corner. You just cannot see around there. And then once you do find somebody on that corner, there's nowhere to go. If you go left, you're gonna fall down off the side of the road, and then you're into that fence right there. So my concern is for our safety out there, getting vehicles, emergency vehicles, fire safety equipment around that corner. I have a 46-foot camper fifth wheel that I got to swing way out, hang off the edge on the left hand side to make it around that corner now because she's got that chain link fence so far out there. Like I said in that survey, it's already the wooden fence was 3 feet. beyond the property line. Now, this chain link fence is even farther beyond that. So there's not a lot of room to turn around in.
Okay, so it's pretty much this one corner that
It's yeah, it is that one corner. Once you get around that corner, it's still on a what is it, 2 feet out beyond her property line on
right
the
here, it
east
just
side
says
there.
it's 1/4 of a foot.
If you come down to your
2.4.
yeah 2.4 there, that's not really a problem there. It's that one fence post out in that corner. That's almost 4 feet out into beyond her property line.
Now, in doing some of the research, is the road easement for the private road 33 feet off of the center line?
Yes.
Okay. Because, I mean, here it
Well,
looks like,
it's your property line.
here it looks like it's fine. Because if that's halfway through, it's gotta be, and the road's 30 feet wide, so going off this part of the fence has to be good. I can see where that would be very close, and I can understand.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue
Pepper,
is right
repeat
there.
referring to
And
this.
the green, that green material that she's got causes you cannot see through the fence.
This is where she took it down, though, is at that corner.
That
correct?
is the
25
corner.
feet
She
this side
took,
and 25
she
feet
left,
this side.
she left fence
Over this
material up, yep, that from there. And then on the driveway side. So all she took off was just that part of that
25 on
one,
each side.
part of that one corner. But what she did take off, you still can't see around that corner.
You're saying this is not even on her property?
It's not, the fence is not on her property. It's 4 feet, what does it say, 4.4 feet beyond her property line. That was the original fence. The chain link fence, now when they replaced that, he gave her the permit to replace the fence, is what it says, and they went even beyond that, another foot or so beyond that. I think that survey is from 2020. And the permit was just issued in 22, so when they put that chain link fence up, that went even beyond where that 4 foot of property line already was over. So now she's way over. I don't know by how much, but she's right at the very edge of that road.
And you know, you might be totally right. I'm not gonna say you're wrong, or I'm not gonna say she's wrong, because I don't know where the property lines are.
I don't. I'm just going based on this survey.
And the reason why I say this, because according to our ordinance, section 14.17, it says it shall be the obligation and sole responsibility of the persons erecting the fences to determine the location of the property lines. The zoning administrator may require proof that property lines have been established prior to issuance of a fence permit. The township shall not determine property lines or lot lines, and the issuance of the construction permit to erect the fence shall in no way be construed as a determination of the correct, valid, or legal location of the fence or frontage. In any way, the rights of the adjacent or abutting property owners. So
I know that survey was done actually in 2020. That was given them prior to them issuing that permit for the fence.
But I don't know if we really want to determine where the property lines are at, but
I thought I understood in one of the public comments we got ahead of time that surveys were done at the cost of the neighbor.
Yes.
That he paid for a
Yes,
survey.
he put money in and he paid for that to be done.
but we don't really know where the property lines at to tell her she gotta move the fence.
And then
It's this survey there.
So this is an official survey.
Okay.
My question is we keep referring to this as a corner. I mean, if you look up the definition of corner, it's where two streets intersect.
Yeah, it's probably different with the.
What is it? Going, okay, she is technically the fence, and there's not any measurements given here. So I mean, if this is to scale, which a survey should be, if I'm looking at it, we can see down here that the fence is far enough away from the road easement, and it gives it.
Talking about 33 feet of easement.
Yes, but up here, I mean, if it's the same dimensions, that one is definitely going to be encroaching on the road easement. However, it's still not a corner. And
It's a curve, actually.
it's a curve, it's not a corner, and it does say that as long as there's 25 feet, that the fence cannot be any higher than 4 feet. And if it's a visible, they can see through with us removing the 25 feet, because I think the sight line. Sight zones, within the limits of sight zones, there shall be no fences or hedges except for clear vision fences. Such sight zone shall be determined as followed, and it says that only goes into effect at street, road, and corners. Yeah, so that's this is kind of outside of what our ordinance, I feel it's kind of outside of what our ordinance actually.
Well, I used to
Makes
say they
judgment
went
sign.
past the property line for the new, because this is the old fence.
Yep.
And he said he went farther yet.
Yeah, so here's the monument, it looks like that's where the fence goes, so it is just past. Everything.
And that's the old fence, not the new.
That's the old one.
Yeah.
That's a wooden fence that is up there.
Because it's right here with privacy fence, and it was a 6-foot one,
Mhm.
so that definitely would have prohibited vision, so I,
With that green material that's still left up there now, it's still on that it's clear view of sight around that curve, whatever we're calling it. It's not a
so I am curious, what would make you guys happy? Because I have to admit, the letter that we got, that it threw every
the letter
offense
from
Paul Martin.
oh,
Every
Yeah.
offense that it sounds like there's been a long time. too.
yeah.
And so to me, just from stepping into this, it sounds like there's a lot of things, and it's just we're gonna.
For
call out
me,
for everything.
if that green material comes down,
Okay,
I might be okay with that.
You okay?
The problem I've got, like I said, that I drive that 46-foot fifth wheel around that corner. If I'm not on my game and I'm not careful coming around that corner, I'm gonna clip that $100,000 camper on that fence, which is already 4 feet beyond it. So, and instead of coming maybe to, I don't want to call it a corner, to a point, what if we brought that point back and made that more of an angled back on her property, at least at that one point?
She a kind of
Yeah.
person that you could work something out with?
I work with her all the time.
Okay.
She lets me cut because the trees overhang, and like I said, I drive $100,000 camper down the road. I ask her, and she lets me cut the trees and clean everything up. I don't have a problem with it.
Do you think we could work something out with her?
I would think so, yeah.
I'm good for both of you?
Yeah, and I know that before you were there back and forth, Paul offered to put the fence up for her. He was gonna pay for it. And she
Oh, okay.
refused. And now there's just back and forth, so I don't, he won't work with her. She will work with me. I think between the other neighbor that helped her put that fence up, myself, if we could just back that one corner up and push that back to where we could at least get it, but then you got that one tree in the way, that there's a tree right there in the corner.
Could that tree come down or
If
not?
the tree could come down, sure.
is the tree? Is it?
It's the one right there in that picture. And again, technically,
If it was right next to that tree, though, you'd still have plenty of room to get.
I would still, yeah. So what I'm saying is maybe just cut this off at the tree and go from that corner right there over to that pole right there and just square that corner off. Get rid of that green material that's up and then square that corner off.
So do you think the three of you and the zoning administrator go out there and work something out with
I
them?
don't see why not.
Wouldn't that be a good solution?
I don't have any authority over that.
No, but what I'm saying is just to work with her and say, hey, let's make this thing work.
Yeah.
When you say 3 of them, did you mean as an administrator?
No, him and the guy who helped put the fence up in the late Wanda.
Wayne, yeah. Yeah, Wayne's her neighbor. He's the one that helped me put that up.
It'd be nice to work something out if we could.
Yeah.
Have you had any contacts with?
Yes. So the file, I sent you my file, and all of my interactions, yes, are documented in that file. So yeah, we've had a number of conversations. We talked about the ordinances. She did remove the fence to the 25 feet on both sides. But where the fence is located in terms of the property line, I don't know that that's something that the township has jurisdiction over. I think that that's a private matter. That they can either work something out or they can sue her over it. But I don't know that it's regulated by our ordinances. I, as a zoning administrator, don't have the authority to tell her to move things.
Sorry, I'm looking up because I remember there's correspondence in there, so I'm just gonna refresh my memory. You guys can move on if you need to.
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to come out there and help, work with But, I think we can work this out.
So you want me to go talk to her?
If you would say, could we work this out?
Yeah.
I know she came in and talked to me. She seemed like a good lady.
Yeah, she's fine.
Nice lady.
Yeah. And I would just like to see that corner of that fence moved back or
Yeah.
something.
Doesn't seem like it's asking a whole lot.
I know, I mean, you have to, somehow, we've never done chain link. If Wayne tore it up, I'm sure we can tear it down and just move it back somehow.
Yeah, why don't you talk to her and keep us informed if there's something we can do for you.
Right. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
I'm Jensen, 9950 Sheridan Road. I'm gonna talk about the zoning of the gravel pit.
Okay.
And, I got, the board is, in my opinion, to protect the zoning ordinance of the Millington Township. The board's, doesn't change the ordinance first because, they just don't have the authority just to change it on their own. Yeah, I feel that Tammy Denver seems to know the zoning ordinance real well. And the board chooses not to listen or they ignore what she has to say. And, that's my opinion. We need to get new members that will follow the ordinance, not only for the members of the board, but for the protection of Millington Township. I have sat on different boards, attended different meetings before, and never anything like this has ever been done, ever that I know of, in all the meetings I've sat in. And I'd like to quote what one of the members of the zoning committee said when I was sitting here in the audience is, let's get this over with, let's get it done. He's waited long enough. That, to me, isn't solving the problem. That is creating more of a problem. And I just wanted to bring that up to the board. Thank you.
Thanks, Kenneth.
My name's Miranda Jensen. I live at 9950 Sheridan Road. On Monday, February 10th to 25th, the Planning Commission voted to two matters related to the Tri-County Agriculture. TC currently resides within the agriculture residential districts. The uses permitted within the agriculture, the AR district are listed in the ordinance Article 5. On Monday night, the PC voted to approve the reclamation plan for the TCA. One of the conditions of the approval was that the TCA submit a current site plan and reclamation plan to the PC within 6 months. I'm confused as to how the PC can approve a document that they expect to receive 6 months from now. I'm also confused as to whether the site plan and the reclamation plan are the same thing or two different things. The PC seems to think that they are the same thing and made the argument that the site plan that is over 17 years old is sufficient to meet both the site plan requirements and the reclamation plan requirements in the ordinance. Article 17 outlines our site plan requirements. Section 1706 provides that the site plan approval expires in 2 years from the date of the Planning Commission granting initial approval. Unless it is completed or unless an extension has been granted, the Planning Commission may grant up to 3 extensions. There is no evidence that the Planning Commission has ever extended the term. So I do believe that the site plan expired a long time ago and no one has noticed it or ignored it. Article 503 outlines our reclamation plan requirements for Section 503B, has 4 paragraphs of very specific setback requirements. Section 503C requires an applicant to provide an engineering stamp reclamation plan and give over the 2 pages of reclamation plan requirements numbered at 1 .9, section 503B provides the additional 6 very specific requirements regarding what is to be included in the reclamation plan. Section 503J references an additional requirements found in a separate ordinance, number 18.303. None of these sections of our ordinance were even discussed at that Monday night meeting. No references were made to any of these requirements, but the GC voted to approve an extension of the expired site plan or reclamation plan, and they expect to receive this in 6 months. You're approving something that is going to come back to you in 6 months. On Monday, PC also voted to approve an additional special land use permit that allows PC to resell business selling P-rock, limestone, crushed concrete, a variety of items for landscaping materials from the current address. As a request of the TCA, it's primarily a retail business activity which is entirely outside of an enclosed building and is not permitted at the AR district. According to the ordinance, it may be permitted by the commercial district, but not.
Thanks, Lou.
All right.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'm gonna be finished on this for Mrs. Jensen.
Okay.
Diane Wood, 3149 Murphy Lake Road, 7657 Osborne Drive. Okay, the planning commission voted to approve this request for the special land use without regard to our ordinances. The planning commission approved a similar request for the campground mud bog, which is also not allowed in the AR district, but which may have been permitted in the commercial district not too long ago. At that time, the board voted to appeal the planning commission's decision and the approval permit was overturned. It appears that RPC is not learning from their past mistakes and as a result is continuing to repeat them. Ensure our ordinances are upheld. I am asking you to take similar action today on these 2 TCA approvals made Monday as you did when you voted to appeal against the campground mud bog permit for the very same reason. Please spare the taxpayers the unnecessary expense of having to pay to appeal these decisions and send the planning commission a very clear message that you expect them to read and follow the ordinances by appealing these 2 recent decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
Was that to your request on that?
Oh.
Who wants to read? I'll read the first one. Okay. To the Millington, and this is dated February 1st, 2025, to the Millington Township Board. After watching the televised meeting on January 30th, 2025, I am compelled to write to let you know how disgusted I was with the supervisors and planning board members' behavior at that public meeting. Your blatant attempts to degrade the zoning administrator and all the work she does shows your lack of professionalism and lack of understanding of your own zoning ordinances. It is obvious that the men on the board are not qualified to represent our township. If you cannot or will not read the necessary paperwork for your position, then you need to be gone. Please resign. The people of Millington Township deserve better. Don't continue with this behavior to make Millington a laughingstock. I will be watching and or attending these meetings in the future. I hope things get better. Respectfully submitted, Cheryl Boatner.
So would you like to read the next one?
I'll read it. February 6th, 2025, to the Millington Township Board. On June 9th, 2022, a fence was erected on Torrey Drive by Wanda Salisbury. Zoning Administrator Roger Leach had approved a fence permit to that. Roger knew that the former fence was in the road easement and had a copy of the survey that showed entire fence was in Torrey Drive. I paid for the survey. Bob Fall also paid for a survey showing fence was in a road easement. Wanda Salisbury has never had a survey done, but has been told her fence is in the road easement. I called her and left a message informing her that the fence was totally in the road easement. She called the police on me instead of just calling me back to talk. Roger knew that he had a problem with placement of fence and told Wanda that she could not put fence where she was putting it. She told him she was putting fence where she wanted to, and we took her property when she moved in. This road easement was put in effect in 1950 before she was born. Wanda is not even supposed to use this drive. Wanda had her own driveway when she moved into her home. Her address is Murphy Lake Road, not Torrey Drive. Her access has been denied by our lawyer, yet she still uses our drive. We have allowed her to use drive for years, and all she has done is block our right of way. This fence has also caused numerous safety problems for not being able to see around the corner and oncoming traffic. There have been accidents at this corner, just as Steve Hess, he had to lay his motorcycle down or hit a car head on. If Wanda's fence was on her property and met all ordinances, we would have not problem with this fence. Wanda uses this fenced-in area for a dog kennel. Anytime you walk down to get your mail, you get barked at like you're a fresh steak, and the smell in the summer from all the dog waste is unbelievable. When Roger gave out the permit, he had a chance to make her prove she was putting it on the property. Roger stated and texted that I did approve permit for Home Depot. They're the ones who pulled the permit, figuring they know not to put it in the right of way. Home Depot did not put the fence in. AIS Carpet Outlet put it up, and they put it where Wanda told them to. Wanda's utter disregard for ordinances and law is unbelievable, and the township is just letting her get away with it. Wanda also has not paid 1 cent for snow removal or upkeep the entire time living here. 2 times she put in a few dollars for gravel. That's 2 times in over 30 years. I pay taxes on 6 pieces of property on Torrey Drive. Just want my township to uphold the ordinances. Paul Martin, 8039 Torrey Drive, Millington, Michigan. Anyone read? Please read this in public comment during the planning meeting and township meetings. February 6, 2025. Dear Township Board, I am writing to you as a concerned and engaged taxpaying resident of Millington Township. I recently had the opportunity to watch the video of the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, which was held January 30th, 2025, and I must express my concerns regarding the conduct and decisions made during that meeting. From my perspective, the meeting was an embarrassment to the residents of Millington Township. Having attended previous meetings, including the discussions surrounding the Irish Road Mud Bog Campground special land use permit, I have seen firsthand how the planning committee struggled with managing township matters. Unfortunately, after viewing this recent meeting, it appears that the dysfunction within the committee persists. Rather than working collaboratively in the best interest of the township's residents, there seems to be an ongoing division between departments, which has created a hostile environment of blame shifting and inefficiency. A key concern I noted was the unjust criticism and harassment directed toward Tammy Denzer, the zoning administrator. Instead of addressing the committee's own failure to adequately read, review, and sign documents before their meetings, blame was placed on Mrs. Denzer for introducing additional ordinances. This diversion of responsibility is troubling, particularly when it seems to stem from an agenda to discredit a dedicated female employee whose hard work happens to highlight the inadequacies of others. Moreover, much like the previous debacle surrounding the mud bog issue, the ZBOA had to revisit the laws to correct the errors made by the planning committee. This not only wasted the appeals committee's time, but also resulted in the unnecessary expenditure of taxpayer funds. Based on the proceedings observed during the meeting, it appears that Luann Jarzel is the only member of the planning committee consistently fulfilling her duties. As a taxpayer, I find this situation highly disheartening. The members of these committees took an oath to serve the residents of Millington Township, and it is deeply troubling to witness actions that undermine that responsibility. Rather than fostering cooperation and progress, certain individuals are creating divisions that ultimately hinder the welfare and representation of the community. For Mr. Loomis, I understand that you have earned a strong reputation within the community, which is why you were reelected to office. However, I respectfully request that you reflect on whether your actions are genuinely in service of the residents who voted for you, or are you allowing the position to be used for personal gain? On numerous occasions, I have observed that you are often unprepared during meetings and rely heavily on others for answers. As a leader, I would expect more initiative and a greater level of preparedness. Please consider the needs of the community and take responsibility for ensuring that our township operates efficiently and in the best interest of its current and future residents. Lastly, I respectfully urge the planning committee to either fully commit to their roles and responsibilities or step aside to allow someone more capable to take the position. Your role is to serve the residents, and it is crucial that you prioritize their needs over personal agendas. Thank you, Tammy Denzer, for your continued dedication to your position. Your hard work and commitment are greatly appreciated. Sincerely, Cherie Herrick, 5715 Murphy Lake Road, Millington, Michigan.
Okay. Next is new business, 2025 Township.
I was thinking with all of this that has just been said, perhaps we need to modify the agenda and add the TCA approvals on the agenda to be considered by us as a board. It's a very strong feeling from the community, and we should probably address it. Put it on as an agenda item for discussion. So I make the motion that we add that.
Is this something we're gonna make a decision on the win, or?
Well,
what-
yeah, probably, it's something to decision. We at least need to discuss these concerns while it's current.
I haven't had time to look things over for that.
Don't know anything.
I agree it needs to make a decision, but
Well, if it's on the agenda, we could do it as a discussion item. Because then some things can get cleared up for this board.
I'm
So
fine
we're
with
not gonna
discussing
vote
it.
on anything you're saying.
I don't know, we'll decide when we discuss it.
Uh,
So I just make a motion that we put it on as an agenda item for discussion. And consideration. Support.
Then a motion to add the agenda item of the TCA gravel pit to the agenda.
TCA approvals. Yeah, the approvals that the planning commission did, since you're upset with me.
The TCA approval, this one?
Yes.
Okay. Onto the agenda. New business will be number 7. Okay. New business, 2025 Township Board meeting minutes. I guess we tried to vote on that. I'm sorry.
Vote on the motion.
Been a motion, there's been a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passed. Okay. Number 1 on new business is the 2025 Township Board meeting dates. Guess we gotta approve these. I'll make a motion, we approve.
Do it at the end.
Oh, yeah. I just wanna get it over with.
New one is hard to do.
Anybody got any questions on the dates? I never checked them out. I assume they're all right. As far as the third Monday.
Yeah.
Fire budget. This is the same one Dave gave to me.
Yes, is there
Even who knows it?
any questions on the budget?
Dave sent me a text about some remodeling or something. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, if they don't remodel.
He sent me a text. I'll have to check with Dave on that, but this is the budget for the Millington Fire Department.
I make a motion that we approve the Millington Fire Department budget for the 2025-2026.
So we can go later.
Oh, see?
So you just doing it again?
Yeah, we're old school.
And I want to remind everybody, you only pay 60% of this. Big different thing. I don't know, but you pay 40. Okay, the property exemption.
It's just right here. Because
Oh.
it was so many pages, we did just kind of it was emailed to us. It was emailed that we could review it.
Yeah, every year during our March board review, we gotta set guidelines for property exemptions. And it starts out size of family one is $15,060. And it goes all the way up to 8, which is $52,720. So it's something we gotta approve. It's basically a formality, but we gotta approve it. So I make a motion, stop. I think we should. Deputy clerk stick.
Would you like me to do that?
Yes.
And we're just covering the stipend right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So right now, the deputy gets paid $80 a month for everything that she does. I am proposing, and I did have a little bit more time to think over it over the weekend. Right now, the deputy clerk is Jackie, and she's here 40 hours a week, so she's able to handle things as they come in. So that's very convenient. If someone comes in, they want to register right away, register to vote. She can take care of that, and she's been helping me get through any questions that I have. Her knowledge is extremely valuable, especially since I'm still learning the position. I'd like to propose that she makes a $250 a month stipend, which would be $3,000 a year. That's still half. Actually, I think we had budgeted 6,900 for me when I was the deputy clerk. So that's still, it's paying less than half of what we originally had budgeted. And as I learn more, we can adjust the stipend. Like if we wanted to, next year, I'll definitely have more. Maybe we could drop it $25 a month or something, get it back down. But I think $80 is too little for what she does.
You done?
I'm done.
So when originally happened, why we didn't have a stipend in place. When Becky was the clerk and she went to a different, she wasn't able to be in here her whole time. So that is when the deputy clerk, which was Laura at the time, she went to an hourly wage instead of a monthly stipend because she had to do more work because the deputy couldn't be here. So that's when we went to an hourly wage. At that time, the deputy clerk, from what I understand, was getting $1,150 a year.
The clerk or the deputy clerk?
The deputy clerk was getting $1,150 a year. We went to the budgets,
Okay.
I believe. So normally we go over all, Robert does the budget and he goes over all the stipends. So I would be more comfortable putting it back to a stipend of what it originally was at $1,150 per year. And then she would get, what is it?
It was getting
Like
$9.
Well, it's like $95 and then taxes get taken. So if we could go back to that and then review this at the time when we do the budget and review all of the deputy clerk, the treasurer clerk, and when we review all of our wages. Normally we would do that at the budget workshop.
My understanding was I was trying to get it before, that way we could just have it done for the budget, because it's next week, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
May
but-
1st of March.
But we will work on everybody's wages
That's
at that
everybody's.
point. And I would just,
That'd be a good starting point, though.
yeah, I would just assume wait till then, because if you're raising the clerk way up, well, what about the deputy clerk? So then we can discuss it in full and across the board.
And that'll go into effect April 1st.
What are the stipends?
Or she doesn't get paid hourly.
Yeah, so if you're a deputy clerk, so you get paid so much a month for being trustee, the clerk gets paid so much a month or a year divided into months for the clerk, the treasurer, all of us. And the deputies get paid as well, a stipend. So when you do the voting, we can vote it back, so it goes back to a stipend because we can't give her an hourly wage now that she's
She works.
administrative assistant. So that's,
She's both. The
She's
deputy clerk
yeah.
and the
the administrative
administrative
assistant.
assistant.
I mean, Carrie used to be the deputy treasurer and the administrative assistant.
Okay.
I know it's probably kind of hard to tell, but we didn't have any idea how many hours she would work a week and or a month. You know, some months are more than others, especially during election year.
And honestly, this year should not be a busy year because there is no elections for us. But there's always stuff that needs to be done as the deputy clerk. She handles lots of the cemetery stuff. So she talks more.
Yeah, the administrative assistant did as well.
Yes, that is.
That was a part of the administrative assistant.
She does do all of the registrations if someone comes in to get registered to vote. We have to update as every time someone moves in or moves out of Millington. There's a MasterCard, there's their voter ID card that needs to get issued. There's updating the system. So that's done on at least at the bare minimum a weekly basis. That's something that is something that I did as the deputy. Come in here to make sure that those were all up to date.
I agree with Sharon. We probably should go over this during our budget workshop, which is, you know, talking about a lot. So, but it's a good start. Three contracts. This,
This is just a possibility. Yes, it's not anything written in stone. It's very workable. It can be changed. It goes right along with the ESTA time. I don't know if you want to discuss it when we decide the
what time?
ESTA sick time. We have to pay.
That's the ESTA time.
That's, well, siesta would be nice, but it's ESTA. And I would like to, at the same time that we, after a decision on the sick time, that's being required by the state, put into place an employee contract explaining things, what they will be getting, what, you know, the amount of money, the amount of hours. Just put a little bit of an example of how you could break it down. And then have the employees sign that. And I believe it would be a good idea to review and also attach their job description. And also when we would review it possibly yearly at our budget workshop would be a good time, and we wouldn't forget it as we're reviewing their yearly wage or their wages. And also with the ESTA, you have to keep track of paid time off as far as if it is for sick leave or vacation leave. So I also put in a template of a little bit of a form that they could submit. They could keep a copy, we'll keep a copy, and then that would be our keeping track of the paid sick time.
Do we have any contract now with employees?
We do not.
Okay.
Is this the template we would have to go with? Is this work from this one, or is this just a?
I would go with this one. It's very basic. It's a very basic.
The first one here, where the number one.
Mhm.
If we're gonna follow all the company policy, rules, and procedures, is there an actual handbook that they can follow?
I think there's a job description.
There would be a job description. That's what all we have for them is a job description. And that would be great to have the info. Every position should have a handbook. I mean, I have all my duties are written down. If someone could come in and fill my place. I don't know if the other positions have done that or not. But that would be a good idea, even for there is a job description, but there's no handbook.
Well, that would probably work. At least they have to have something to follow. In the paid time off part would be, you would have to have a few more categories in it. Like steps for vacation time. Saying the actual words that there's 40 hours of sick time, because that's what we are now
That's what we have to
Mandated.
decide. Yeah, well, yeah, we have to decide, how are we doing it? Are they earning it? As they go? Are you uploading it?
My vote would be if they're hired, after the 90 days, you get 40 hours sick time.
Okay, well, you have,
It renews every January 1st or whatever day
you have the cemetery employees work 30 hours a week.
Well, they're on salary too.
They're on salary and they work 30 hours a week. If they actually earn their sick time, it would take 40 weeks to earn their sick time. So you're getting, you're getting farther into the into the year. They get the primary cemetery starts he gets 2 weeks paid vacation. So that's another 10 days on top of that. And then you also they get 12 paid holidays. So there's another 12 paid,
18,
or I'm sorry, 18, you're right, it was 18 paid holidays. So if you actually had them earn their time, it's gonna be mid-November before they earn 40 hours. Do you wanna upfront them 40 hours at the beginning?
Yeah, do it. That way it's easier to keep track of.
Yeah, part of salary, you gotta keep track of every hour they're here.
Right? So every week,
Somebody's gonna have to do that.
well, you still have to keep track of every hour they use too. So that's just my input. And the other thing that we need to consider, with this paid time off, Jackie, the administrative assistant, she earns, instead of paying time and a half, she earns if she works overtime, she gets 1.5 that time as, what do you call it? Comp time. So if she works like 3 hours or an hour over for the board of review, she gets an 1.5 hour comp time. And then she can take that time off during working hours. But she doesn't get paid 2.5. Do we want to keep comp time, which we've always kept track? Or do you want to change her totally to the paid sick time, or upload her as well? And then
That time probably works out. I know it did with Carrie. You just took her.
I know Jackie has not kept track of anything.
No.
Not so far. It's been a year and she was like, she knew Carrie had it, but she never paid any attention, so she has not utilized
I
it.
thought at one time, my understanding of comp time was not exactly an approved, like, way to take time off.
I'm just saying that's what they've done. And I'm not saying it's right, but this would be the time to change it. Do you start paying her 1.5 when she's here overtime?
How often does she work over?
If you work it, you need to get paid it.
I'm not disagreeing at all. I'm just saying, these are the decisions we need to make. And if we're making all these decisions regarding paid time off because we are forced to, then we also need to consider the administrative assistants as well. So that's just my discussion.
I agree with Gerald. She works, so she should get paid for it.
I'm not disagreeing at all.
How often does she actually work overtime? I heard
Well-
of review. Is that something that I know Carrie did do stuff before?
Yep. There's a couple nights there they stay late for the board review.
Okay.
She's required to. And other than that, I guess I couldn't tell you.
If someone walks in the door at 4:00
Gary.
and has something to do, and if she's there till 4:30, then she would add 45 minutes to her comp time.
Okay.
But if that's behind the times and we don't want to do it, that's fine.
Yeah, I think you could probably talk to Gary about that as far as how many hours actually. Like what she took.
If she would stay over a half hour, she'd get the half hour overtime if I
That's right.
switched the other way.
That way you wouldn't have to keep track of it. Okay. Any other questions?
Who is going to be in charge of like writing as an actual rewriting the template?
I don't mind helping with that.
I'm glad to, once the decisions are made, I don't think it's going to be that hard to do. I will work with Laura to do that.
I'll work with Sharon.
Because you're probably going to be the one that would have to keep track of the paid time off.
Well, how would you work vacation time? Like,
Well, what do you mean?
that would have to be written in here also, right?
It's just-
Step program. You're here a year, get a week off. You're 8 years, get a week off.
Yeah.
You're 10 years, 3 weeks off.
Yeah, that'll be written in 12. Well, all of their benefits and all of their vacation time will be written in. So, yeah, I don't have that in because it'll be pertain to whoever's signing the employee form.
Okay,
So
so
we're fine.
we are looking at giving them paid sick time and as well as their vacation, correct?
I think we're obligated to
No,
it. I am vacation time.
obligated.
But we're obligated to the 40 hours of sick time. Vacation time, we should give them too. Because if you want somebody.
We're already doing it.
So you're gonna give them 40 hours of sick time. You're gonna give them 2 weeks, 120 hours off vacation time, plus 18 hours of holiday time,
18 days worth, yeah.
18 days of holiday time. Okay, so if they take a day off.
That isn't their fault though. that
No,
we give them
no,
18
I'm not.
days.
Okay, so if they take a day off, I'm taking a vacation day.
Yep.
Okay, is it 6 hours or 8 hours?
It would be on the employee.
Okay, so if they I'm off sick this day, and are they using 8 hours of their vacation time, or their sick time, or are they using 6 hours of their sick time?
If they're a 6-hour employee, they only get 6 hours. Like the sexton you said works from 8 to 2. Then you would only give him 6 hours off. You wouldn't give him 8 hours off. That was just whatever their normal schedule
He's gonna
is.
get paid the
You don't-
same.
Well, they per se don't have a normal schedule.
But that's the averages. I mean,
They're required to be here that time. But what I'm saying, these are the little things you gotta look at. If he takes a day off as sick day, are we deducting 6 hours from his time? From his sick time? Okay, now he's getting that day off, plus after so many days, he's gonna have an extra day off. That's,
Correct.
by not letting him earn it as he goes, you're giving him a lot more time than what you guys are anticipating here. Because they only work 6 hours a day.
I was looking at the total because I was thinking, okay, if we're giving them each 1 week off, which I did not differentiate between a 30-hour work week, although that's another thing we need to talk about. Because in order for 30 hours to be considered a full-time employee, we have to have it written down somewhere that we consider it 30 hours a full-time employee. And I couldn't find it anywhere because we didn't have a lot of paperwork on employees. But in order for us to give all 3 of our township employees 1 week of paid sick leave, it would be $1,647 for the entire year. So when I started thinking that there's going to be a lot of money involved, and I was like, well, I don't feel that the $1,647 a year would put us in the red by any stretch of imagination.
We got some real dedicated employees. I know a lot of times the parking lots fall before you even get here at 7 o'clock.
I'm not saying they're bad employees. I'm just saying.
But what I'm saying is, I think they deserve it.
I'm saying you got to look at all the details, and it's not the person. I'm not taking anybody personally. I'm saying you can have 10 years from now have different employees that would take advantage of it. We have to look at all the aspects of it before we make a decision.
You're exactly right. There are employees that can. There's also employees that won't.
I get that. I'm not judging the employees.
To streamline everything, you just give them I worked for both. And earning the hours, you have to have an accountant on staff to keep track of it all. And give them the time. They can use it when they're sick. If they use it up, they don't get any more than that.
Okay, so when they take a day off,
It's a year. It's a year clock.
We're gonna take. So if Jackie takes a day off, she has to use 8 hours, and if the others take a day off, they only use the 6. So they're gonna get extra days.
Okay, so Jackie's a 40-hour week employee. If the sexton is a 30-hour week employee, that's what he's supposed to be here. Then we give him the 32 hours of
The 32 hours of unpaid, it only comes in
of sick time
after the
for
4 hours.
You have to.
30.
You have to do 40.
I thought there was an hourly limit to the state thing.
If they're under 10 employees, they get 40 hours. Anything over.
It was, that's what
The break was.
And then after if they've used their 40, then you give them 32 unpaid sick time.
okay,
So
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on employee contracts? Now we got TV for live stream.
That's that.
Is that in here?
It is. I talked to Isaiah, our IT person. So the goal is if we go to Zoom meetings instead of YouTube using the OBS software, we are able to download the agenda and any pertinent information that people might want to know. We can put that, download it as on Zoom meeting. It will still be on YouTube, and we can also put this onto our website so that the recorded meetings would be on our website and they're available on YouTube, but they would be via Zoom. So right now we use the OBS software for our live stream. We would be changing to the Zoom software, and that would also incur a cost of $15 per month. Isaiah didn't think we would need to get a TV because we use, that was my understanding, or if we want to have a TV so we can see things, we can do that. But that's what this is about, is trying to get our meetings shown on a Zoom meeting and allow so the people at home could see our agenda or any information we felt that they would like to see, or even like those minutes from the last meeting that they could read them, so that's what
Do we have
that's
to
all
go
about.
to the Zoom format to allow us to put that on? Is that what you're saying?
I believe it's easier to put on our website with the Zoom format. Right now we have a link on our website to get to the Zoom, but you're going off our website to do it. Where I believe this is the
Does the link take you to Zoom or to YouTube?
YouTube.
Okay. That's what I was thinking was.
If anyone from the board is interested, my office in Carroll, we utilize the Zoom platform and we have 2 big screen TVs. If anyone wants to take a field trip, I'm happy to show you how that works, and then maybe you can make a recommendation about what would work better for you.
So what is to have the TVs? What is the benefit?
For you as board members, the benefit would be that you can see what other people are seeing so that you know what your audience is viewing. I would say for the rest of the audience here, we would also be able to see what's on the television screen. So if you were discussing specific documents and you wanted to make those documents viewable to the audience, you would have the option of doing that.
And that would, putting those documents up there would be something that had to be done from the board.
So
And
like
during the meeting, it's like today.
you would preload it, so you would put it on there ahead of time.
I was at one of those meetings and I remember the TVs now that you mention it.
I'm thinking not necessarily for your board meeting, but like the planning commission has the renewable energy workshop coming up. So if your presenter had like a PowerPoint or documents that he wanted to share with you, we currently don't have facilities to do that. If we had a television screen that was connected via your laptop, then your presenter could take a USB drive and put that onto your, and it would show on your television screen, and then the audience members would be able to see that. So I think that it would have more than one use if you decided to go that route.
Anything else on the TV for live streaming? The next thing we got is a TCA approval.
Before you think that, I have a question. I was at that meeting. My understanding was that they had tabled it until they got the.
No, they approved the permit and then they approved the site plan, but they gave him 6 months to turn it in. There was a lot of discussion about whether the papers that were here were actually a site plan or not. I don't know. I've never heard of them approving a site plan that isn't present. And I raised a lot of questions about that. It just kind of flies in the face of common sense. I had big question, our site plan and a reclamation plan, the same thing. Rob, do you have an answer? Do you know, would you consider a site plan and a reclamation plan one thing or two things?
So what is a reclamation plan when you go back and let's say fill in the gravel pit and make something out of it? That's a reclamation?
Well, that, if you have a site plan that tells what you're gonna do, but Tammy, in your opinion, is a site plan and a reclamation plan one document or two separate documents?
I don't know that I have a concrete answer to that. I don't have any experience working with a reclamation plan. That would be something new to me. I know that our ordinance speaks to, I might get these wrong. I think it's Article 17 that talks about the site plan requirements. And I believe it's in Article 5, maybe 5.03C, that talks about a reclamation plan, but it's Article 5 that talks about the reclamation plan because that's specific to your mining operations.
Yeah.
So there's two parts of our ordinance. If you have the ordinance and you guys want to look these up, it's Article 17 and I believe Article 5. They're mentioned in two different places. I don't know that that necessarily means that they're two different things. I'm not sure. I don't have that answer.
Did look it up on Google. That's the site plan details the layout and design of a development project, including the placement of buildings, roads, utilities, and landscaping on a specific property. While a reclamation plan outlines the strategies to restore a disturbed area to its original or suitable condition.
And the reclamation plan in our ordinance has very specific requirements of what it's supposed to have. I don't know those off the top of my head, but if you look at your ordinance, they're very specific as to what a reclamation plan is.
That's, yeah, it's even like as far as lighting and as far as.
It goes way beyond.
Yeah, all sorts of, communications.
It's like 2 pages worth of requirements.
So what are you getting to here, Luann?
Well, Bob brought up one paper to show the planning board and he called that his reclamation plan. And I did not feel that it was. And I kept referring back to, let's check that, and the gentleman did never open their book. They went off what they remembered. They didn't really check the ordinances. And then to approve something that you don't have in front of you, you don't see it, but you approved it, and 6 months from now you get it. If there's a mistake, there's been 6 months of a mistake now. Those are very concerning that they did not refer to their ordinances to make the decisions as was expected. The site plan was 17 years old for the lawyer. Can you use a 17-year-old piece of paper to say, oh, this is okay? Our ordinances say you can't.
I think it's only fair to ask some of the planning board members
Well,
what their stance is.
if you watch the meeting, clearly they didn't have a problem with approving a plan and not receiving the paper.
Do you guys think it's
So the plan that we approved, which is the site plan, reclamation plan, all on one. Because basically he wants to create a condo village once he's done with mining. And that is still plan itself, but the states and paperwork he has is ongoing. It is changing as he's doing his mining. So what we wanted was the tropical, the ground contour and so on that he had on his map was old. Probably back, 15 years ago. So we asked if he could update that. And again, it's gonna change from when he updates in 6 months versus once he's done mining. And he still felt he had over 10 years of mining left. So that plan is going to change again, because all you're doing is getting a snapshot this year what it looks like.
It's a continuous change.
And if he's continuing to mine, so it's gonna change again.
So how can you approve a reclamation plan that's 10, 15 years down the road?
And that's what that was originally when it was approved, there was an estimate of approximately 10 to 15 years. He felt it would maybe be done mining, and then he'd be creating this condo village, okay? So, I mean.
So
he's
shouldn't he
trying to-
bring the reclamation plan when he's ready to build the condo project? Why would you get that approved 10 years before you're gonna start doing it
Our ordinance actually requires that you have the reclamation plan in advance.
in advance? Okay.
Yeah. So
So you approve a plan in advance without knowing what exactly he's gonna do?
You have to see the plan to approve what he plans on. Now, that's why the review of every 2 years is, so that in 2 years, if there happened to have been a major change, then he can bring that in, the board reviews it, notes the changes, or if there have been no changes, he still plans to do exactly this many houses, the roads, this, probably these places, then you can approve that, and you can do that 3 times from your ordinances. And it got overlooked, it didn't get done. It's very important to get that written into this one.
And Luann, if I can finish where I was going now, okay? We were approving what had been approved 15 years ago. And in that documentation, it says that he won't start his condo development for approximately 10 to 15 years. We had COVID. He don't know how much gravel that the county can take. It's like him trying to look into a crystal ball, say when he's going to start his financing, right? Yes, we have for a normal getting a permit to build a building, do a garage. You need to have it done in 2 years. That's a very small project compared to doing a multi-building condo development that he's doing. Okay? So he's not going to get that type of work done in 2 years. And that's why it was noted in his original agreement that the board approved in 2007 that he would have 10 to 15 years before he even start.
But you still approved this 6 months before you had the paper. You're giving him 6 months to bring you that paper, and you approved it without the paper.
We had a markup, or he had an existing one,
He had a 17-year-old one, is what he had.
and he had.
And they knew the meeting before that we inspected a new one. He only brought in a cover top. And on that cover thing, his designer, his engineer, had added a lot of things. And at the meeting, he said, "Oh, I didn't realize those were on there." Well, this man is doing a special request. I would expect him to know the details, like the things with towers, communication towers, water towers, all that. When the original board did this, they made sure that this permit was only for a gravel pit. And it specifically said no bringing in of off-site materials, and that was done to protect the citizens of that live around there. And as we've heard from the citizens that live there, they still expect this board, this full commission, to still stand up for the citizens, protect their rights that are listed in the ordinance. I mentioned the ordinance several times. Nobody looked it up. 1703 is the site plan, and it gives all of you details. None of that was on his cover page. That's why he needed to redo that plan from 17 years ago. You go to 1803. There are specifics, location, size, and character in harmony with the appropriate neighborhood. They still, this is a resale business that belongs in a commercial area. It does not belong in residential ag.
I think you guys are talking about two different things. The planning
Yes,
commission
the
approved
whole thing
two
is mine.
things. They approved the resale permit. Which the argument is does it belong in residential agriculture or does it belong in commercial? And you can look that up on your ordinance. But then they also approved the reclamation plan. And the Article 17 is what you're citing is relative to the site plan.
Yes.
I'm going to ask the board to look at section 5.03, which talks about your site reclamation standards. Because I mean, the site reclamation standards are much more specific than your site plan. And Sharon, to your comment about whether or not the reclamation plan is required before or after, if you look at 503D, it says submission of operational and reclamation plan. No earth removal, quarrying, gravel processing, mining, and related mineral extraction operations shall be allowed or commenced until a plan has been submitted and approved showing the manner in which compliance with the requirements of this ordinance will be secured and maintained by the applicant. Such plan shall include, among other things, the following, and it has 6 things listed. But then 5.03C, and I can't speak to the order of these things, but 5.03C lists the site reclamation standards, and it has numbers 1 through 9. Again, like very specific. So if you take the 9 and the 6, there's 15 standards that a reclamation plan has to meet that a site plan doesn't. So that would be my reasonings for assuming that they're 2 different things.
So Ed, did the reclamation plan meet all of these requirements?
We looked at the site plan and reclamation plan. And we're comparing it back to what was previously approved. And that's what we based our decision that we made. There was a motion made to exclude some items that were on the drawing that were not on the previous drawing. And that's how the approval went through. Because it was went back to what previous site plan, reclamation plan approval was.
So my question is, did you and your board members, fellow board members, go through all of these to make sure all the boxes were checked off when you approved this plan this last month?
We did not go through every one line by line by line.
You did not. And is there a reason why you didn't go to our ordinances to do that?
Because we were told originally that it was the same exact reclamation plan that previously was approved.
Did you double check that? Did you
Yes.
verify that?
Yes.
How did you do that if you didn't look at your?
We looked at the documents, the drawing, that was several years old versus the new one.
When you went through and you checked off.
I checked off the item that was different.
All the cover letter. You went through the 2 cover letters and matched those. None of these were here. You can't approve something that wasn't in front of you. The new one had to be in front of them to see. Does he have it? Is it a stamped reclamation plan? Is it the permanent water area? All of these points are other permits that we've approved recently. We go in and we meet 1, 2, 3, 4. They match this. So that's how the permit gets approved because it matched the ordinance. This wasn't done this time. And so I kind of feel like there was a faulty way of getting to the approving the permits. And that's why we as the governing board need to be aware of that and maybe make big steps to correct it.
So the planning commission said something along the lines of they were going by the 2007 or whenever the original map was made in the ordinance at that time. Is that such a thing? They don't have to go by today's ordinance.
Why wouldn't they have to go back to the ordinances?
That's what they said. They were going by what it was said back then.
That was the opinion of the man turning in the permit, the plan and everything, yes. But as these change, we have to keep up with the changes. And that's why you do your reviews. And keep track of the special use permits. How many do we have? Are they all in compliance? If not, you check them and you see what needs to be done. So it takes a little more work, but it's the only way to follow the ordinances.
So where are we going with this?
The entire planning commission isn't following the ordinances.
Well,
I don't,
Alan Green kind of set a precedent back with the mud bog debacle. It was the same thing. We didn't follow the ordinance properly. We gave a permit that shouldn't have been done. We went to the zoning board of appeals. I kind of feel like this needs to do, that the board needs to send this to the zoning board of appeals and let them decide, did the planning commission do these properly or did they not do these properly? And then we've got a firm basis of a point of where to go from here.
So we're gonna spend $2,000 more of the residents' money to take this to zoning board of appeals. Why don't you take it to the zoning board?
It will go to the zoning
No,
board
I'm
of
talking about why don't
appeals.
you spend your money to do it?
Because
Instead of the
this
residents'
board
money.
is a governing board, it is our responsibility.
I'm sorry, I so agree with it.
That's all we cleared up with you that if the township board just reviewed the last 3 planning commission meetings and the things that people are saying would totally come into view. I realize you people can't go to every meeting, but to the point.
I know what's going, I've seen that.
People are watching tonight. These other people, the letters you got, it's not just me. I sat through the meeting and I know what I felt wasn't right. But I think as a board, if we vote to send it to the zoning board of appeals, that is an independent group that will go through this. Let them make the decision. Was it proper? Was it not? If it wasn't, they will make the points of what needed to be done. And that's the only way we're going to get any for the people to trust us that we are doing our job as a township to follow our ordinance. Integrity is her word. There you go.
Well, the other thing they passed was bringing in product and selling things as a commercial. And that's
Right. That can't be.
That's clearly not allowed in residential area. We also
Or the,
pointed out that there are commercial areas available in the township that he could do this exact same job in those commercial areas. And
We
he
followed the lawyer's recommendation. The lawyer said
No,
that we can make that decision.
so the lawyers,
Lawyer.
so you say the lawyer said you could make that decision.
Yes.
When he said upon the board's discretion, correct?
Yes.
Okay, does the board's discretion mean they don't have to look at the ordinances?
And we looked at the ordinance and
You didn't follow the ordinances.
now you're mixing different areas. Okay. And first we're talking site plan information.
Okay.
Now we're talking this other one where we approved making open air sales, which is listed in our commercial area. However, in that gravel pits approved document from back in 2007, it's documented that he can do commercial.
neighborhood commercial.
What is the
Reclamation.
Yes,
plan.
if I start the entire result of what the lawyer said, you sell your line that you want. This is the whole thing. And let the whole board hear exactly what the lawyer said. Mr. Mashke, it is unclear whether the approval of the site condominium in 2007 was part of a conditional zoning agreement or based on some other provision of the prior zoning ordinance. Even so, it appears that the development of the subdivision, anticipated to be implemented within 10 to 15 years of the 2007 approval, allowed for some establishment of some commercial establishments within the boundaries. This is within the boundaries of the development of the subdivision, all of which would be at the discretion of the planning commission. The development of commercial enterprises was allowed, quote, provided they are of the neighborhood type. Specific examples of those commercial enterprises that were stated were listed: convenience grocery store, bakery, coffee shop, beauty shop, dry cleaners, restaurant, or florist. However, certain uses were expressly prohibited. Example, supermarket, drive-through restaurant, sales of nursery stock, fertilizers, and gardening equipment. The list of examples and exceptions was not intended to be all-inclusive or exclusive, and each proposed commercial establishment shall be subject to site review, plan review, and approval of the planning commission. In summary, to the extent that the site condominium approval and conditions remain valid after 17 years, there was still a question on that, and they solved that. The development of commercial enterprises project within the boundaries is a matter of the discretion of the planning commission, provided the commercial enterprises are of the neighborhood type and not expressly prohibited. Planning commission must determine whether the open air sales of wood stick chips, stonecrete, and beach sand is a commercial enterprise of a neighborhood type within the boundary of the site condominium approval, allowing for establishment of commercial business developments within the boundaries. he mentions in other areas, it's more closely related to these, the nursery stock, fertilizers, and gardening equipment, which was prohibited way back in 2007. You can have a beauty shop and a little corner market. They did not want another village out there, was the whole point. So, in our ordinance, this sale of what he's proposing is a commercial enterprise. In our ordinance, it does not allow commercial enterprises in the residential ag zone.
I think if you look at Article 10.02A, you'll read exactly where it is allowed.
Open air businesses such as drive-in theaters, fuel or propane sales, racetracks, used car sales, farm machinery sales, outdoor recreation facilities, or any retail business activities which are conducted entirely or partially outside of an enclosed zone.
And that puts it in the commercial district.
So if he wants that business, it belongs in a commercial zone, which is along 315. It's that cut and dry.
In the original site plan, it allowed for the commercial sales after, while the subdivision was being,
After the subdivision is built,
after
they
the
could
gravel.
have, you could have the bakery and the, the little.
So the original, it said
The original
it
purpose.
was allowed after the
Did
gravel
not
pit
say,
was done.
it didn't have the stipulation that after the mining is done.
As part of the reclamation plan of that development, you could have these. I mean, you're not gonna, they didn't allow a beauty shop in the middle of a gravel pit, that was.
But I would add that
separate.
those are still subject to the planning commission's approval.
Yes. But the planning commission is supposed to follow these ordinances, which say that kind of business belongs in the commercial zone.
Anything else on TCA approval? If not, the zoning administrator's report.
So I sent an electronic file that included the updated zoning permits issued by Millington Township. You should have received an updated copy of that this afternoon because we issued one more permit per day. I also signed an updated Millington Township complaint file, and there are several complaints that I asked for the board to provide direction on. The first is complaint file 2024-001. That's the Salisbury fence dispute in the Lake Residential District. That's the one that we've had multiple public comments, both in person and through the letter. With regards to the property owner has removed the screen over the fence 25 feet in each direction to comply with the site zone requirements of our ordinance. However, as you have heard, the township is in receipt of a revised complaint relative to this fence. The fence is in the road easement and the complainant would like the township to ask the property owner to move the fence. I think if I understood earlier that Mr. Loomis has offered to work with the property owner and the community residents to see if they could come up with a compromise. So I'm assuming there's nothing that I need to do as the zoning administrator for enforcement on this matter.
Yeah, the only thing is, Tammy, I don't think it's a township position to go up to and say this is where the property lines are at.
Okay.
I think that's up to the homeowner, and if Mr. Martin does not agree with that, he can take her to court.
I'm not sure that answers my
Well,
question.
But what I'm saying, I hope they can work something out. Don't get me wrong, I really do. But if they can't, if they say the fence isn't on the property line, it's not up to us to determine where the property line's at. It might be perfectly right. I don't know.
I'm just making sure that I understand my role in this, and in terms of the enforcement, I've taken the steps that the board wanted me to take. Is that correct?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
But I don't think it's our position to go out there and tell them where the property line's at.
That wasn't what I asked or what I said.
Yeah, I hope they can work something out. I really do. I don't know if that's possible or not, because I know Paul is a little set in his ways, and
But if not, it's not up to us to go out there and say, this is where the property line's at, you need to move your fence. That's my position, only my position.
So at this point, my understanding is that you don't need to pursue this any longer. We're gonna leave it up. You can close the file. We're gonna leave it up to the.
Perfect, thank you. My next one is complaint file 2024-004, which is multiple owners sign dispute in the Lake Residential District. The attorney informed us that our sign ordinance section 14.06 is outdated and needs to be updated. He would not recommend enforcement on the homes not hotel sign, as content-based enforcement is against the law. At the direction of the board, this file was closed. However, at the request of the supervisor, this file has been reopened. I was asked to investigate if these signs were in violation of section 14.06G, requiring all signs to be at least 10 feet from the all road right-of-way lines. I have completed that investigation and my findings were attached to that email for your review. The majority of the signs have actually been removed. Of the few that do remain, 3 property owners have placed their signs at least 10 feet from the road. 2 property owners have not placed their signs at least 10 feet from the road, and that is because they have irregular lots in the Lake Residential District, and they do not provide for a 10-foot setback from the road. Those signs are actually placed next to their garages, and their garages are not 10 foot from the road. I did provide pictures so that you could see the placement in that email file that I sent to you, so that you can see that those signs are up against the building on the property that are included in the file. I'm not sure how the board would like me to proceed. We've talked about the lake residential lots being irregular lots and not always complying with the ordinance, but I don't feel like I'm in a position to make this judgment call.
I feel like they did the best they could with moving the signs as much as possible. From the pictures, it looks like they have.
It's no different than having their name hanging on their garage. It's just insane.
I'm fine with closing it again.
No, what was asked of me at the zoning board of appeals meeting was the setbacks for the signs. When I told them, I said, even though it's a private drive, it's still 33 foot or 66 foot right away. And they gotta be 10 foot off the right of way. So that's 43 foot. That's what I said.
Okay,
No, I just wanted to clarify what was said.
I went by our ordinance, and our ordinance requires that the signs be 10 feet off the road. So that's what I chose.
It's 10 feet off the right of way,
Excuse me,
not off the road.
I misspoke.
No, that's fine. But it says in here that on the ordinance says all private road right of ways shall be a minimum of 66 foot in width and shall be shown on the land division drawing as an easement. So that's 66 foot, same as the regular road. And the sign's gotta be 10 foot off the road right away, which is 33 foot.
Which everything is, except for these 2, which are put up against their buildings. So I don't know.
No, I just wanted to clarify what was said at what was asked of me.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted to clarify.
What would you like her to do?
And she's happy with taking her all taken down or out of the way, and I guess we're good.
Well,
You said 2 of them are up against the building.
2 of them up against the building.
Are still 10 feet from the road, but the building is 10 feet.
Yeah.
they're not 10 feet. But
Correct.
the buildings are.
Yeah. I'm happy with it.
So you'd like to close the file?
I mean, I would, but I don't feel like this is within my jurisdiction to make a call.
I don't feel
It's a
there's
judgment
anything-
call, and I feel like it needs to come from the board.
I don't feel there's, in my opinion, there's nothing more we can do. If put it out against the garage, I feel that this should be closed. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's fine.
This is super helpful. Thank you. The next one, complaint file 2024-033 is the Rome's light concern. The property owner has not responded to the letter delivered to them via certified mail on December 27th, nor have they responded to the voicemails that I've left for them. According to our civil infraction policy, if the township finds that no corrective action has been taken or a plan to correct the violation was made, the township may provide a copy of the file to the Tuscola County Sheriff Department for follow-up. I would like to know if the board would like me to proceed with this next step relative to this complaint.
You've heard nothing. You know someone lives there?
Yes.
And we did certified mail, so we're,
And it was delivered, so we have the record of the correspondence.
Next step is,
The next step is for the sheriff's department to make a follow-up call, to reach out to the property owners on behalf of the township.
in person,
That's my understanding.
Well, that would be the next step.
and this. Sorry, I looked through the file earlier.
So is that
That's the
yes?
next step. I agree that it needs to be taken.
All right. The next one, complaints file 2024-035, which is the Zabbit's blight concern and special land use permit potential violation. The property owner has indicated that he is not able to comply with the request of the board to present the township with evidence that these vehicles fall under the special land use for variance. He explained that the cars for resale are not titled and registered, so he is unable to present that information to the township. He has indicated that he only has one, and I put in quotes, junk car visible, and I put that in quotes because that's what the special land use permit in the handwritten note says as a condition of the permit. It is my understanding that he was going to come tonight to speak to the board at the meeting, but obviously he's not here. I would like to know how the board would like me to proceed with this complaint.
did he offer any suggestions of what he would try to do or a plan for the future? He didn't go back with that?
No.
That's what he was going to bring with it.
That's what I thought he was going to speak to tonight.
So we're just going off what is on his special land use permit and agreements with our ordinances. But my understanding is ordinances that we're going off of are for residential areas, and he's a commercial area, correct? Or is there no difference?
I would have to pull it up to confirm that.
Okay,
That should be commercial.
and I looked,
I mean, he's on M15.
right. So I wasn't sure of the zoning ordinances. I did look through here and I'm still learning, but I didn't see commercial zoning ordinances. And I just feel like
We can table this and the board could do some more research and then let me know at the next meeting or through some form of communication what you'd like me to do.
He
I
also
don't
says
know where to go with it from here.
He also said something about he had a variance or something, or
So there's some confusion about so how do I want to word this? We don't have great record keeping from past decision making in our town. And so there is a document on file that both references a special land use permit and references a variance. That document was actually included in the packet that was sent to you. And on that, it gives permission for the used car dealership with conditions, and those handwritten conditions are down in the bottom right-hand corner of that document. And one of those conditions is that there are no, and I quote, junk cars visible from the road. What qualifies a junk car? I don't know. I don't have a definition for that. The complaint is that there are too many cars visible from the road.
Cars were supposed to be kept behind the fence, and for the most part, it looks like.
There was a condition on there that said that there was supposed to be a fence. I don't know that I read within the conditions that the cars were supposed to be behind the fence. I suppose you could imply that. But those handwritten notes aren't very clear, so it makes it difficult to enforce.
I would like to hear what Elvin proposes to fix it before.
You want to table it then?
I was thinking, what?
I would.
Thanks.
Then, just to be clear, I will not be taking any further action on this file until given direction from the board. All right, complaint file 2024-39. That's the Morse no zoning permit, non-permitted recreational vehicle permit. The property owner did speak to the board at the January meeting. During the discussion with the board, he indicated that he would be bringing the necessary permits to resolve this matter. The township has not had any further communication from the property owner and has not received those permits.
We did call the township.
Okay,
That was we had the meeting on Monday. I talked to him the following Wednesday, and he confirmed exactly what he said. He'll bring up whatever we needed to get the permits issued. And that was the last I heard of him. So he did call. I don't know if that helps anything.
that actually wasn't communicated to me, so don't have that in his file. But we have not received anything from him. So this complaint file remains open. The next step, like the previous one, would be for the Tuscola County Sheriff to go out and pay him a visit. He wasn't very happy with us when he spoke to the board at the January meeting. I need to know how you want me to proceed.
Do you feel if you reached out to him, he would?
I have.
You have.
And no response.
So the problem is with your recreational vehicles or?
So there's both. As we talked about last month, there is I want to say he referred to it as a 10-foot berm. I'm not positive what it actually measures. But there's a dirt berm that's been put around the perimeter facing the road. That's not part of his approved zoning permit. The board at that time in January had talked about the fact that you could simply come in and revise the permit. We don't have anything in our ordinance that speaks specifically to dirt. So it was my understanding that his agreement with the board was that he was going to revise the permit. That permit has not been revised. The second part of that was that all recreational vehicles on vacant land require a permit, and he did not have a permit for the recreational vehicle that I believe as of yesterday is still parked on the property. So again, his agreement with the board was that to rectify that, he simply needed to fill out the permit. But I haven't received either of those stuff.
He hasn't done what he said in the last month, and he's not able to reach him. Then the next step would be to pursue the visit.
Does he have a phone number you call him at or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which he has called.
And that information again is in the file that I sent you.
Yeah.
So, see the phone number.
I mean, I'm more than willing to try and reach out to him again. I can call tomorrow and let you know the results of that.
And hesitant to send a deputy out there and have them. I don't want to escalate the situation at all. We try it for
Laura, when was it that he
It
called?
was literally the Wednesday after the meeting.
So it was 1 week after the meeting. So
No, not even a full week.
so it's been at least 3 weeks since we had any contact with him.
Well, that I'm aware of. That was the only contact I had with him.
Not to make excuses, but I do know he works out of town a lot, so maybe we should try to reach out to him again and just reaffirm it. And then if he doesn't, then we don't have a choice.
Okay. I will give him a call again and I will let you know the results of that. There is one that I actually emailed you today that wasn't in my original email, and that's because it has developed from our. So today I emailed you and I said, please find attached updated zoning permits and complaints as of today. Please also add to your list of items that I will be bringing for your approval tonight, complaint number 2025-001. This is our first complaint from this year.
Did you send that to Jackie?
No, I sent it to all of you.
I did not.
This complaint originates from a property owner erecting a barn absent an approved zoning permit. Her permit application was received on November 18th, 2024. The application was missing information. After several failed attempts to secure the missing information, a certified letter was mailed to the property owner on January 21st, 2025, detailing our attempts to obtain the missing information necessary to process the permit. I was able to reach the property owner again on February 7th. She informed me that the barn had already been erected. I confirmed with the county that no permits have been issued for this barn from either the township nor the county. I will be asking the board for permission to send this property owner a warning letter in accordance with our approved civil infraction policy. With the board's permission, the warning letter will be drafted and mailed via certified mail tomorrow, February 18th. All documents related to this complaint are attached for review. And if you haven't had a chance to take a look at them, here is the complaint.
She did come into the office on Thursday or Friday. And she brought in her tax bill with a description on the bottom of it. And I tried to explain to her that she needed the setbacks because she had the picture, and Jackie pulled it. And I told her we need to know how far it is from this line and this line and this line. I don't know if she's just very confused, but even her builder, she said I told her what she needed, and I believe we may have said, Jackie may have sent a message to you. I guess I don't know that.
I didn't know that she actually came into the office, so that wasn't communicated to me.
She did.
But I would agree that she seems very confused. I've spoken with her several times. All of those communications are documented in that letter. Eventually she just stopped responding to me. So I have a call log that shows each time that I tried to reach her, to obtain the missing information. I can't issue a permit without having those facts. So I don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
Well, she told her when she left, she was going to get a hold of the guy that was building it, and you and her, and have you come out and measure all this stuff.
She's told me that she was going to get in touch with her builder and have him send me the measurements 3 times. Those are all documented in that list too, and I haven't received anything from anyone.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally open to suggestion. I just don't know where to go with it from here.
She has the measurements of the building, but no measurements to the line in any direction.
Does she understand what you're talking about, or?
I don't know how to explain it any
Okay.
clearer.
I don't think she does.
Okay, no, that might be funny, I'm just asking.
It sounds like someone needs to go out and show her what we need. And I could volunteer if that's all that's standing in the way. It's just some people just need to be shown exactly.
I mean, I don't want to get in the habit of going out to property owners' homes and showing them how to make those measurements.
Especially building barns off.
Don't feel like that's my
No. I would follow. I can volunteer to try to talk to her and go up there if that would be helpful.
I mean, I'm totally open to suggestion. I need to direction the board as to how you want me to proceed. The barn is built and we don't have a permit for it.
Let's table this until Laura has a chance to call, or if she'd like me to go out with her, or whatever. We'll see if we can't get something done.
And then finally, at the February 10th Planning Commission meeting, I shared with the Planning Commission that multiple ordinance amendments have been located in the office, many of which do not appear to be reflected in the ordinance number 100, such as the private road ordinance. I attached to your email a summary of the miscellaneous ordinance amendments that we have found thus far. The Planning Commission chair indicated that he would be investigating what to do with these ordinance amendments that were not incorporated into the ordinance number 100. I'm just bringing that to your attention for information purposes. Assuming you have the document, it looks like it's a 4-page document of miscellaneous ordinances that appear to be standalone ordinances that were not incorporated into ordinance number 100.
Several of them overlap, several of them look to be the same thing, just a new date. We have a little bit of a issue.
The only other thing was just the Safe Built professional services contract, but I see that you have that on your agenda for discussion. So I don't think I have anything else for you unless you have any questions for me.
Any other questions for the zoning administrator? If not, we'll go to old business, earn sick time, paid time off.
You just have to decide, are we, I guess, uploading it up front and giving them an extra week of whatever, and is it your thoughts you want to do it over and above their current vacation time and paid holidays?
I wondered for him. It's sick time.
No,
Sharon is making the point, and it's a valid one, that we are required to offer them 40 hours of earned paid sick time.
Mhm.
Right now, we offer them 40 hours of vacation time after 1 year of service here.
You know,
She's saying that if we take the vacation time and turn it into paid time off, then that could automatically be their paid, they could use it as paid sick time or paid vacation time. It's their choice what they use it for. Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is what Sharon is proposing.
So what you're saying that, on the phone for what the vacation time
It's
is.
not a problem.
Let's say if they get a week now, then they'll get 2 weeks.
No, she's saying
Oh.
they'll still get the same week.
Oh,
My feeling is that they were hired with the intent of their vacation time. They knew that they were gonna earn 1 week of vacation time after 1 year of service. And this is something over and above that. That's, and after, I honestly didn't realize they got 18 paid holidays, but that's also not their fault. There's not a lot of business going on those days either.
but then again, if it's snowing out, even like today, if it's snowing out, they're here falling snow.
Yes.
So they still have a job to do if they're required.
So do we wanna have them? So my feeling is that we give them the paid week, but we need to decide whether we want to give it to them or if it's accrued. After working 30 hours, they earn 1 hour of paid sick time.
I'll make a motion that we give them 40 hours up front.
not yet. Later. It's in the next
No?
one. These aren't action items yet.
Oh. Okay,
Those were.
safe bill contract. Or any other questions on sick time?
Yeah, I pretty much stated what I had to say, so.
Safe bill contract.
I feel it would be a good option for us to sign the safe bill contract. It's not gonna cost us anything unless we need it, and you only need it if it's something that our current zoning administrator can't do.
Okay, I know you emailed that. Are there any people?
I didn't see it in here. I didn't email it.
That's fine.
You got it?
As I said, once you emailed, I did look over it there. I just wasn't sure if it was in here.
I don't think it's hurt us because it's,
Right,
we don't have to pay anything until we use him.
Yeah.
that's exactly how I feel.
And then if we actually did need to have somebody, we already have somebody available.
And the county already uses them, I believe, so you'd be familiar.
Now, is he going to become our code enforcement officer?
No,
Okay,
just if we would call and say, hey, we need this.
and you said your concern is primarily.
My intent would be just like we did today. Like here's the complaint files that I have questions on. I would bring it to you. And if I felt like it was something that needed to go to Safe Built for further processing or further enforcement action, I would get your approval before I did that. That's how I would envision that.
I was going through the paperwork and I wasn't sure if that meant that they would handle the enforcement and the things. And
Just if it was something that I wasn't able to do.
Okay. If we're all set there, number 9, administrator assistant pay increase.
next week, that's that, but once again, if you guys, what I was proposing is that our administrative assistant at the $2.50 is our raise. This was supposed to be voted on last month, and it was overlooked during the action part of the meeting. Right now, we have, let's see, Jackie was making $15 an hour when she took a pay cut to come here. She is now up to $14.50 an hour. But it was with the understanding, she came here with the understanding that she would be getting regular pay raises. I was hoping that we could get something, we could give her a raise, which I know we're doing the budget next month. So if, so I was trying to get this done ahead of the budget. I wanted to possibly give her the raise and then and I was suggesting that we give her a $2.50 an hour raise. So she'd be making $17 an hour, and then every year we would give her a dollar an hour raise for the next 3 years. And then, so she will have worked here for a total of 4 years, and then she'll be making roughly what Carrie was making when Carrie was here. This was just a suggestion outline. If anyone has any counter offers that they wanted to do, I did have, and just for Jackie she's great with computers. She's a fast learner. She's dedicated. She's already been with the township for 4 years, 1 year working here, in the office full time. She's a great public relations person. She lives close by me and she wants to work for the township. I'm just saying, the average administrator assistant pay in Michigan right now is $18.58 an hour, on a scale of $15.29 up to $20.10 an hour. So I feel like right now she's making $14.50, and I feel that's significantly under what is the average. So that is my proposal.
I'm fine with giving her a raise, but then again, as far as the suggestions for the other raises, that's more of a budget workshop, so we know at the time what if it's good or feasible or part of that. So
Okay.
But she does do a lot of work, and she's very good with people, and
Thank you, Sharon.
Mhm.
Okay, number 10, signing a blight complaint form.
That one was me too. So after attending the ZBA meeting and the planning commission meeting, I did hear from some more people in the public saying they would like the complaint forms to be signed. Honestly, I drafted a paper to leave up here with Jackie if someone comes in to sign a complaint form and they want to leave it anonymous and they don't want to sign their name. I listed other ways that maybe they can approach the subject so they don't have to sign so they don't have to fill out the complaint form. Maybe they can work it out between neighbors ahead of time. I was going to volunteer to go with them. If it's something that we're, trepidatious, I'd be happy to try to help neighbors work things out. But if it's a big enough deal to sign a complaint and have Tammy go investigate it, I feel it's a big enough deal to leave your name. And then we can at least stay in open communication with whoever made the complaint on how we're working to resolve their issues. And so that is that.
Okay, anything else on signing blight and complaint forms? Second public comment. Go ahead, Kenny.
Yeah, it's all right if I stay here.
It's better you come up here.
Oh.
You can just scratch it.
Yeah, thank you. I just thought of when you was talking here. The gravel pit, when the trucks are coming out right now, they're in and out of there all day. They're bringing snow and ice out on that curve, and I think it's very dangerous. And I'm just wondering if I can make a complaint about it because like someone could get hurt. And I think they should do something there.
They're hauling out right now, Kenny?
Yeah.
Okay. I can contact Bob, but I contacted him before when he was hauling muddy stuff out. I even got the weighmaster involved, and he said we cannot do nothing about it because the prosecutor won't take care of it. But I will call Bob and tell him there's a complaint, and there's
Yeah. I mean, I
I thought he was closed down.
No, they're not going down.
Well, I will call him tomorrow and
You should set before you leave. Make out a complaint so we have paper.
Okay.
give me your phone number.
Okay, 989-871-9580.
9580.
Yeah, and my cell phone number
Okay.
is 82.
He's giving his cell phone number to literally everyone who's on your.
Yeah,
Write it down.
we put it on the
It
complaint form.
should be on the complaint.
Yeah, we'll do it on the
Okay.
complaint form.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm not gonna say it's him that hard time getting. My name is Mike Scarborough, Southern Irish. The only thing I want to touch on is on the sick time and that nature. And there's several points that need to be thought out and worked out. Number one, are you going to allow the sick time to be carried on from 1 year to the next? The other part is, are you gonna put a limit on it? The other thing is about your idea of just dumping it at one time. Guy, you give it to him January 1st, he walks away February 1st, you have to pay him for all that sick time. He hasn't earned it, but you still have to pay him because you've given it to him.
If I quit my job, I don't get paid for that.
It's in the state law. And if you give it to him, it's a benefit that you have given him, then you have to pay him for it. I walked away with 1,200 hours of sick time when I retired.
I agree. If I retire, I can get it.
If I would have quit, it would have been the same
If I
thing.
quit, you just walk away.
If I would have quit, they would have to pay me for any time I have accumulated, which is comp time, sick time, vacation time, any of that. If I've accumulated it, and you've told me if I've accumulated it, you're gonna have to pay me for it. And you can verify it all you want, but that's the way the state, the Employment Act is always covered. It's just, and then you need to set a limit. So in other words, somebody doesn't use any of the sick time for this year, carries it to the next year. How many years are you going to allow them to carry it to the point where he could have accumulated time? And that's all. Thank you. That's why they call it approved. Yep, that's why they call it approved.
There is a virtual meeting. I'm trying to, I made a note in my calendar to attend the virtual meeting. Unfortunately, I forgot to write where I saw it. I think it's in the MTA. So I've got to look for it. I was going to watch those. It's on Wednesday, I believe at 2. So I'll try to find out where that I plan on meeting.
Well, I know they've also sent things on MTA that may not go into effect.
Right. Still have to vote on it.
What the Mary did.
There's
It's in effect if
Oh,
they
changes?
may be amending it. Do we want to wait till they amend it?
But I think it was in fact.
February 23rd. So
That's not that far off.
it's Friday, so you'd have to have a special meeting on Friday to decide the pay and how we want to do it if they put it into effect. If they don't amend it, I should say. So
it's not cut and dry yet.
there's a lot of things.
Voted on.
So we just had a thing from the MTA stating that they are some people are trying to amend it, but it has not been done yet. I don't know if it'll be done last minute or not. That's what MTA email said.
Is there any other second public comment? Mark? Comments all right. Or signing the complaints. I think people should take responsibility to sign the complaints. If they don't want their name given out, don't give their name out. They should still at least sign the complaints. This is America still. We have the right to face our accusers in this country. That cuts down on numerous complaints of frivolous complaints, such as what's happened to Alvin out on the county line. Sent several complaints, but nobody signed it. So I would like to see that happen. Also, as far as the signs go, you got 2 signs that are on a building, you say. So that's okay to break the law if they're on the building, but yet they own the land on each side of those buildings. They can walk 5 feet over, walk back, stick the sign on the ground where it belongs. So take that in consideration before you say that's okay. You're gonna post a file on this. I think you've got to open the file back up. At least take it right out there yourself. I live there. The signs are on the building. They own the property on both sides. They can easily set it back on that property. Why do you have to choose the building? So they shouldn't be able to make that angle like that. Also, at the last meeting, Luann made a statement about 3 of the people on the board possibly mingling too much so they could be accused for Open Meetings Act violation, the lawyer said. So she was cautioning them to watch yourselves
after meetings and stuff, or such as sitting out in the audience during tonight. And there's somebody in between two board members up there. They don't like the fact that they're coming to meetings and sitting together. That needs to be made clear to them. Also, I've seen gatherings after these meetings of board members. That could easily be misconstrued into the same thing that Luann said, so you need to make that clear amongst yourselves. Also, I'm curious to know if well, also I support giving Jackie a raise real quick there. I'll do that. Also, are the safe belt is going to be ever called out, used against STRs for complaints that possible, oh, there's a wiring problem or something like that? And are they going to be brought in as a third party against people like that? Just take that in consideration if you don't want to answer. Let's see. Also, I was informed that there was a mediation meeting between Robert and Lori and a police officer and Tammy. Did that take place?
Yes,
Those positive results, I hope.
yes, I thought it really constructive.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's great. I'm with you, you not build on that and.
Is there anything you
It's a
want
good
to
thing.
throw out there for that week to inform us about what happened during the meeting?
No, I assume not.
Okay, I agree. I'm just glad it happened. I appreciate that. Let's see. I don't know if I got anything more here. Doesn't matter if I do, but again, Jackie needs a raise.
Okay, any other second public comment?
A short one, Diana Wood again. I think Tammy Denzer is doing a damn good job. She knows when it was said, when it was done, when it was wrote down, where it came from, what ordinance it is. She always knows her business when she comes to these meetings. Very proud of you two girls. It's nice to see that, we got some new people on the board and maybe things will start being done right to begin with, so there's not 4 or more years of talk trying to solve a problem that was done wrong with the ordinance first. So just glad to see a couple new people on the board. And Tammy, if anybody deserves a raise, it should be you. Thanks for doing your job.
Sherry Morris, and I have the rental out there on Orchard Lane. I was gonna bring up the signs, but Mark's trying to get clarity. I really want clarity on where they can put them, because again, there is an ordinance, and that's one of the things that you guys don't realize, but we hear back and forth. So Mark was going to clarify, that's what bothered us when you said that, Luann. All due respect, but it seems like you two at the end side with Tammy a lot and vice versa. So it feels kind of like what you were accusing the board members of, or the planning commission members of, we see from you guys. You'll know about something she's going to talk about and you're in full support. So it just doesn't sit well with the public when we see that. So we'd like that on record, that we feel that way, that sometimes because they're sisters, I don't know, or friends with Tammy, those things always seem to be cited. For instance, the lawyer gets thrown out there. The lawyer says this, and we don't know because we can't see. I FOIA it, and you guys say it's confidential. I understand that, but once you make a declarative statement that the lawyer says this, then we have the right to see it. Because we actually talked to him after that meeting. He said, yeah, they should have the setback, should be followed. So now we're hearing, oh, if they put it on the building. There were still some signs out there. I don't know if Ms. Wood still has them, but right there on the side of the road, there's no question in the easement. And Tammy writes us a letter. Story closed. Can't do anything about it. I have to get permission to go on the property. Why? You can see it visually with your eyes. So you see why we feel like things are a little bit tainted toward one side, not the other, or whatever. So, and the flag violation, have you guys thought about that she issued to Mike Utley? She said specifically in her thing to Mike Utley, she said it was a structure. And she said that it had to be removed. The structure definition was for buildings. And I asked you guys about that. Did you look at that at all? Because she just said, remove your flags. And the poor guy did. He's afraid to death to come here. And it's like, I would have fought it if I was him, but that is not a building, a flag. So in her statement to him, she said all flagpoles must have a permit. That's kind of going out there for a zoning administrator to say that. Again, so the handout that she brought this week, unbelievable. Took me 4 hours today to go through that whole thing. And what I decided to do, because I only have 3 minutes, is I did go through it. I noted things that she wrote that were in error. All the dates are not right. A lot of and not factual information. For instance, she cites in there the House bill. It was dead. It was dead in the court. The didn't even get a bill passed in the House for the Democrats. The Republicans' bill was passed, but she cites the Democrats because it suited her narrative. So I'm going to send you tomorrow the Republicans and the Democrats bill because both of them said that a short-term rental is still under principal use. It's the use of a private residence or a single-family residence. So I'm going to send you a bunch of things tomorrow that I went through. She cites things, okay? Like she said to them, click on it. They're all here. I took the time today to click. One of these things she says to click on is a brochure. There's nothing in there. Nothing that supported what she said, but it looks good. So people think, oh, she knows what she's doing. She's got time on her hands, I'll tell you that. So I don't. This took me a lot of time today. This is just a brochure. It doesn't say anything. Mark's right. Anonymous. That needs to change. Alvin, all of a sudden, we're complaining about now sharing. So thank you for listening. I'll send you all that tomorrow.
Any other second public comment? Good evening, Ted Mashke, 7951 Houston Drive, also a member of the Planning Commission. Regarding not requiring the name of the person making a complaint should not be allowed. For years, the Planning Commission heard complaints were not properly handled. Thus, a complaint document was created that included the name of the person making the complaint. The Planning Commission directed people multiple times to fill this document out if they had a complaint. This document is actually still on the website. Got a copy of it today off the website. So if I would have a complaint against me, I feel it is my right to know who made the complaint. If people don't have to provide their name, they can make multiple inaccurate complaints about me with no repercussions. This isn't fair to the person that the complaint is made about. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Anybody else?
All right. So before the board makes a decision on whether or not the complaint should be signed by the complainant, I think it's relevant for you to hear from the person who's actually receiving these complaints. I have talked with a number of residents that wanted to file complaints anonymously for a variety of reasons. One of them is because they're simply fearful for retaliation. I have also talked with some of the people that are being complained about, and those individuals on more than one occasion have said to me, well, tell me who it is. I'm going to go over there and confront them right now. And that's exactly why that individual did not want to be named. It is incorrect that they can fill out a complaint form and have their name on it, but not have that name disclosed. FOIA requires that we release that information. So it's not possible to sit on the fence and have it both ways. Either their name's on the form and anyone who asks for a copy of that receives that, including the person being complained about, or the name doesn't have to be on the form and the form can be completed anonymously, in which case I would investigate, as I have done with all of the complaints that we've received thus far. And if the complaint is without merit, the township doesn't take any action on it. So there's no harm to the individual that's being complained about if there's no merit to the complaint. There is harm to the township if we're not being notified that our violations, our ordinances are being violated because an individual is afraid to make that known. I would strongly encourage you to consider this. If you find that we get to a point that complaints are running wild and that you need to address this further, you can certainly do that at any time. But as I explained to you earlier in my report, so far this year, we've had one complaint. And that complaint originates with me bringing it to you because the person did not come in to obtain the proper permit. So clearly, this is not an issue. We don't have a multitude of anonymous complaints that are coming to the township that we are then acting upon inappropriately. So I don't understand why this is even being discussed. If there's any questions about those complaints or how we act on enforcement, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, there's no other second public comment. We'll go to action items.
I'd like to add an action item for to do an action on the TCA decision. Support.
Yeah. And a motion to add TCA decision on number 11 action items. Been supported. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those. Motion passed. Excuse me. We're down. Okay, action items. Number 1. Approval of the 2025 Township Board meeting dates.
I make the motion to approve the 2025 township meeting dates as presented. Support.
We've got a motion to approve the 2025 Township Board meeting dates as presented. It's been second. Is there any discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed. Fire budget. I make a motion, we approve the fire budget for 2025-2026 budget year. We've been a motion to approve the fire budget for 2025-2026 budget year. Been second. Is there any discussion? No, let's do a roll call because it's money.
Jarzel,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Steiner,
Yes.
Cameron, yes, and Loomis.
Yes. Number 3. Poverty policy for 2025 board review.
I make a motion to accept the poverty policy for the 2025 board review as presented.
Support. There's been a motion to approve the poverty guidelines for 2025. It's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passed. Employees contracts.
Deputy clerk statement. Number 4.
Oops, I'm sorry, I missed one, didn't I? Number 4, deputy clerk stipend. Are we gonna take this up during the workshop?
Well, I make a motion that we revert it back from an hourly wage for the deputy clerk to the stipend that it was before.
Well, it's already, she's not getting an hourly wage. She is.
She hasn't, no,
Got any?
we didn't change it back yet. It was received. No, she has not received anything. So my motion is to revert the deputy clerk pay back to a yearly stipend of $1,150 and make it retroactive to the date she took the position, December 20th, 2024.
Wouldn't have been the same day that I took. this
Whatever
position.
date that
That'd be
is.
November. I think November 20th.
November 20th, I'm sorry, November 20th.
You said 11.
$1,150.
So you're saying she would get one check?
No, she'll get,
Yeah.
that will get divided up between 12 months and it'll retro back to the date she hired. So it'll be around $90 a month.
You can read that total again.
$1,150. And make it retroactive to the date that she took the position. Support.
Then a motion to change the deputy clerk stipend back to a yearly stipend at 11.
Before we do that, can we go over this again before the market?
Yeah, we'll do it, we'll
Yeah.
review it,
So
and
this
it'll
is-
change, it'll adjust then, but we're just getting it back to what it was.
Okay, just making sure I'm.
Yeah, during the budget workshop or whatever. All set?
Yes.
Okay, there's been a motion to change the year deputy clerk stipend back to a year, $1,150 per year, and paid once a month,
Just
Okay,
make it
once a month.
retroactive dates.
back to the retroactive date of November 20th. It's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Lauren, roll call, please.
Cook,
Yes.
Cameron, yes, Hyneth,
Yes.
Jarzel,
Yes.
and Blue.
Yes. Okay, yep, our employee contracts.
I make a motion that we implement employee contracts to be signed by them upon hiring and the township board to review yearly at the budget workshop.
Been a motion to, excuse me, been a motion to, implement the employee contracts.
To be signed by them.
To be signed by them on hiring. How about the ones that's already hired?
Or, well,
The ones that's employed?
in the ones that are employed.
Yeah, the ones that's employed and also new,
And you,
new hires. And, their pay will be looked at, during the
and the township board will review them yearly at the budget workshop.
township will review them yearly at the budget workshop. It's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. TV for live stream. I guess I didn't quite understand all.
I think currently you just want the format, correct?
Yes, it would just,
Zoom?
the software,
This is,
the software for Zoom, which would be a $15 a month subscription.
And then did we want to get a TV so that the audience can see, or is the TV not part of the Zoom thing? And is that,
It can be, yes, that, you want to do that, so.
I think the Zoom thing is a good idea. So they can.
If it's a
see-
better format to work from, yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we implement the Zoom meeting software and purchase a television for the office so people can see to purchase the television as well. Support.
There's been a motion to go with the Zoom meeting software and also a television for the office, for people to, for the office to see. It's been seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passed. Excuse me. Earned sick time and paid time off. I will make a motion that we give the employees 40 hours sick time up front and be paid off every year at the end of the year and hold nothing over.
I don't think you have to pay them off at the end of the year. do you?
Use it or lose it. Oh, use it or lose it?
Lose it. There was some help.
Jam, we're always gonna pay it off.
Oh, so if you don't use it, they can roll it over to the next year, but they can't use more than 40 hours in 1 year. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's makes sense.
They can't use more than 40 hours. They get 40 hours.
You do 40 hours, but if you roll over, you use 20 hours 1 year and you roll 20 hours to the next year, they can't use 60 hours. It doesn't
That
make
don't make
sense.
sense.
It doesn't.
It does. What you're doing is you're building up a retirement account. Because when the person leaves, like it was talked about, then you have to pay them off those additional $3.
I retired in
Well,
December and got paid till June through the state by rolling over my.
So they don't.
So-
Should try to use it or lose
So-
it.
Because
Yes,
that's just the way
it-
state works.
If we have to pay it, then it would be best for everybody involved that we don't pay 100 hours in 20 years. You pay it every year.
Through that time.
In the budget.
On sick time.
Where's your 40 hours of sick time?
I'll just use it.
I'm not for paying them off at the end of the year. I just think that's, if they need it, they use it. And then you, yeah, I don't know. Or we can table it until we know for sure they're gonna implement it after Friday.
I do want to attend the virtual meeting, see what, is there's a whole lot. I did a lot of reading this.
So then by Friday, we gotta do something. Huh?
You have to have a meeting on Friday, yeah. I know. If
If we approve it,
we approve
we
it,
can
can we go back and change it?
change it.
If the state does something?
But either way, giving them 40 hours sick time is not a totally bad thing.
No.
We just need to work out. But some people have, do we accumulate it? What do we do with it?
I wouldn't say use it or lose it personally, but
That's,
then you gotta keep track of it.
You still have to keep track of it.
No, it just, it's at the end of the year, it's done.
No,
They've turned in this many slips.
it's fine, but then you gotta carry, if they've turned in 20 hours worth of slips, you gotta carry over 20 hours per this.
Oh, we're not talking about carrying nothing over, use it or lose it.
Right, but the state of
The
Michigan.
state of
is-
Michigan says you have to offer them those hours in the next year.
Well, same all the.
Yes, you
carry
have to
over hours?
roll over.
I
Yes,
guess I didn't read that in there.
yes, you do. It doesn't make sense because, but you don't have
And
it.
it says that you can mandate that they only use the 40 hours,
Right.
but if they roll some over, they still are rolling them over, but they're only allowed to use the 40, so they're building up retirement.
So that's the rule, you gotta carry them over.
That's
You know,
our
you was-
You do have to carry them over if they have any left.
In the hospital, you could only cure it up to so many hours, and then you had to be paid out on them. So,
But if you can set,
the only thing I'm concerned for you guys is like, if you get an employee and they save all their sick time. Okay, for instance, they could take 120 days, if they had the appropriate amount of sick time. And you would be left with no employee for 120 days. That's the dark side of that. See what I'm saying?
And
So then you have no one to, and in a case if somebody had cancer or something, I mean, that's expected, you know, maybe that happened. Because you're gonna have to hire somebody in between, or you're gonna be overemployed for 120
Well,
days.
basically, tell me, we don't have a choice, we got.
all unused earned sick time carries over from year to year. However, an employee is not required to permit an employee to use more than the annual allowed maximum time, paid or unpaid, in a 12-month period. So it doesn't make sense, but that's the law.
But we'll have to be keeping track of that then to know how much money that person gets when and if that day comes.
Sharon, did you reach out to the
That's all
council
I
and
have.
find out about that?
Try calling today, they're closed.
Yes.
Like, you might want to check on the law because I'm a small business owner, and I understand it's 10 employees, 4 lots. I'm not gonna be affected,
Yes,
or more, I'm sorry.
no, it's 10 employees or less.
There's.
And our less we
rules
still
for the
got
10.
offer.
Yeah,
That's why.
It is.
Change that.
no, it is 10 or less, it's a small business.
So we don't really have to figure it out.
One thing I'm opposed to is,
Give them
Like
40
to
hours
say-
up front.
yeah, because you're giving them 40 hours up front, if they earn it, okay, by November, our cemetery sections will have earned their 40 hours, but they can use it as they earned it. You know, say they've earned up to 20 hours in July, they can use that 20 hours, you know, they can use it as they earn it, but if you give it all up front, and I know it's more record keeping and bookkeeping,
We'll say who's gonna keep track of all that.
Well,
That's salary.
it would be the clerk. That
Okay.
would be the clerk's job to keep track every week they work, they earn an hour of pay. And you could put an Excel sheet on and figure it out. And
So you gotta go by how many hours they work a day and.
You might also want to consider a provision, you have to have it written down somewhere in their contract or otherwise, that it says that you're allowed to use, I'm gonna use an example, but modify this to suit your needs, but like 3 days at a time, anything more than 3 consecutive days, you need a doctor's.
It said something like that. And
if, yes, you would need a doctor's note, but if we require a doctor's note, we gotta pay the doctor charges.
It says that applies. The state knows more ways to confuse things.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, so
tentatively, if we can just agree to offer to start letting them accrue it while we figure out everything else.
See what happens.
That would meet the law.
yeah, so we make sure we meet the law and we can, and you and I can work on the employees contract. Present it to you before we vote on it, or before we implement it, and then you guys can see all the details of it. And we can also work out how we would figure out the pay and go from there, if you guys are comfortable with that.
Sounds doable.
So we got all bring sick time now, or we gotta wait till Friday, or?
I
I think we're doing now.
Yeah, we,
Okay.
well, that's starting. Not start today, I was just thinking starting Friday, you offer them, then they start earning it,
Approved.
yeah, as of Friday.
I make a motion that we implement the ESTA sick time accrued sick time, starting the date that it goes into effect, as of right now, February 20th or 21st.
I will second that.
There's been a motion to implement the EFTA accrued sick time law starting February 21st. And I guess we can't, there's nothing to do as far as holding it over because something's automatic.
Yeah, most of it is.
And somebody told me, and I don't know, well, yeah, it's been seconded, is there any discussion? And somebody told me that, let's say if I'm 15 minutes late, I can use my sick time 15 minutes.
I can, in increments of whatever your time card allows, but you could.
I feel like there should be some, I mean, since they are getting vacation time and sick time, I mean, it lays out a whole list of what you can use your sick time for. Did it say just tardiness as one of the
It
reasons?
said you can use it to any increments, like if you're
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
But there was a list, like if one of my children was, you know, because they're my biological kid, if they had cancer or something, I could use my sick time.
right.
You know, I'm not sick, I'm helping my child get her.
So,
That's
because if I take time off at my other place, whether it be an hour or 2 hours for a funeral or whatever, they use my PTO, like my vacation time, whatever you want to call it, right off the bat.
Right.
That's, you can do that, if you choose.
But we don't, this is not.
I'm not saying we are
PTO.
going to implement that, I'm just saying, we will decide all that once we know what's going on.
So does that
The EFTA money accrued, it's been second, is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passed. Safe built contract.
I'll make the motion with me.
Support.
Oh, go ahead.
Been a motion to sign up for safe built contract at $85 an hour. It's been second. Is there any discussion? If not, Laura, we need a roll call, please.
Cook,
Yes.
Cameron, yes. Kinda,
Yes.
Barzell,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes. Administrative assistant pay increase.
Oh, I make a motion that Jackie get a $2.50 an hour raise. And
Support.
thank you.
Been a motion that Jackie, administrative assistant, get a $2.50 raise, bringing her up to $17 an hour.
Yes, and I did put in the notes that it would be retroactive back to January since.
And retro back to January. It's been supported. Is there any discussion? Now, Laura, you need a roll call, please.
Yes.
Cameron, yes. Kinda,
Yes.
Barzell,
Yes.
and Lewis.
Yes. Okay, number 10, the signing of blight and compliant forms.
Complaint. I made that, so I will.
Complaint forms.
I will make motion number, I will make the motion that we require people to sign the white complaint forms.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion to require people to sign the blight and complaint forms. It's been seconded. Is there any discussion?
I do have a little concern because when that fellow was here, he was one of them that said, I can take my gun and take care of it myself. I don't know how prevalent that is in our community, but it is kind of concerning.
Can you just keep it confidential with everything?
No, we can't.
Yeah.
Once it's written down, it's gotta be.
If it's FOIA, you gotta get it.
Because, yeah,
You don't like have any kind of like, where you have to tell the person's name, you have to tell them what the complaint is, but you don't have, you can't hold the name of the complaint.
What's the purpose of an anonymous complaint?
Well, it's been, there's been a motion, been seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, Laura, you want to do a roll call, please?
Cameron, yes. Cook,
Yes.
Barzell,
I don't know.
Kinda,
No.
Lewis.
Yes. Number 11, TCA decision.
I move that this board send both the planning commission decisions regarding the TCA approvals to the zoning board of appeals. for a review and a decision to see if the ordinance was followed properly. This includes the special use permit and the site plan decisions.
I will second that.
There's been a motion to send the TCA decision on,
It's a PC decision on the TCA.
the PCA decision to the zoning board of appeals, and
For
the
review.
township will pay for all costs.
So that's not part of the motion, but.
But I just, hold on, we got more.
Discussion.
It's
So, and
it's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Who pays for this?
The township board to get our integrity back and know that everybody out in the public will know that we're standing on our ordinances and that we want to do things right.
Okay, is there any further discussion? If not, we need a roll call. Laura?
Cook,
Yes.
Cameron, yes. Jarzell,
Yes,
Heine,
yes,
Loomis.
No. Supervisors report. Okay, been working on the budget quite a bit, trying to get that. I want a budget workshop sometime the first part of March. That way we can okay at their March meeting. Gonna do a lot of lot line adjustments. There's one's giving me a lot of problems, but we're getting their land splits. We've got a FEMA class February 25th. February 26th, I was informed today that they want to start doing the food drives. And they would like me to use the Coyote tractor if possible. See what the board thinks about that. I got March review meetings, March 4th, March 10th, and March 11th.
What would you be using this Coyote tractor for?
Unloading semi truck and food. I just don't like the temperature.
When is the budget
I'd rather have a can.
budget workshop is what we go when we cover all of the figures and when, oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
We haven't set a date yet. Be the first part of March sometime.
Is that the whole board that's it?
yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
We set all the salaries and whatever else for projects. So if it's okay to use a tractor, it's gonna be up to the board. It's always worked out before. Borrow set of forks from the village and. So I hope you say no, so. So, that's all I've got. We just, as a park, we just signed a new contract for, security systems. And, of course, that won't go in until probably the weather breaks, but that's where we're at on that. We're looking to put some tile in the soccer field. That won't be until the weather breaks either, so. That's what we got going on.
A development wet spot or actually tile field?
Yeah, drain the wet, there's a big wet spot there right by the, where they serve food and stuff. So. Anything on fire department or?
Pretty quiet.
I did reach out to Lieutenant, is it Paul? Just to introduce myself since we're on the police board. And just to reassure if they had any questions or needed to work with us, that Sharon and I were available. And he responded right away and said, thank you for reaching out to him. So we've been in contact. It's going smoothly. Great.
We'll reach out to Bob Gilling in the morning and see if we can't get something done with the ice or whatever.
I don't know what they
Yeah.
do about it, but
Well, I'm sure you can scrape it off the road anyway, so.
yeah, I don't. But it wasn't today, it was Friday.
Oh, okay.
It don't make
Yeah.
a difference when it's.
Yeah, I'll call and say I got a complaint, so maybe next time you'll
I'm Thursday.
be on top of it, yeah.
It's just, you know,
With the two approvals being appealed, who notifies the property owner of those appeals? That fall to the zoning board of appeals, or does that fall to the board, does that fall to your zoning and
Hmm.
that is a good question.
I think we would have, be the zoning board of appeals, notify them.
I don't know.
You have to do all the proper mailings and all of that.
But Michigan compiled laws doesn't allow you to act on a permit while being appealed. So someone would need to notify him so that he's not bringing in resale products until that appeal is final.
Does the zoning administrator like to do that, or do we contact the zoning board
Well,
of
the
appeals
zoning
chairman?
administrator has been told before that she's overstepped her boundaries, so I'm asking for clarification as to who's supposed to do that.
Robert, do you wanna notify them that it's,
No, I don't want to
I thought you had the one to inspect when you do all the,
expect.
when you go and inspect, you wanted to be the one to do that with them, I didn't know you.
It was, oh, you mean as far as telling them they can't bring nothing new in?
Yeah,
I thought you meant the mailings and stuff.
no, communication that he's being,
I gotta call them in the morning anyway.
right, that's what I was.
Yeah. You know, I'm sorry, I thought you
No,
meant
just to
mailings.
know.
No, just to notify him that he's, that's.
Yeah, oh, I can
has
do
been
that.
Under
It-
appeal.
You'd have to have it in writing. Just adding that to your. You'd have to put his notification in writing, and that would have to be on township record.
You could email him too.
Do you have a format?
I can share a letter that I used during the short-term rentals.
Yeah, might be helpful. Thank you.
Can email that to you tomorrow, Laura.
Thank you.
I'll look myself a note.
So you'll get it for me?
I will get the email.
Okay,
And I'll make sure I get it to you.
okay. I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Support.
On the motion to adjourn, but supported, is there any discussion? Not all, in favor, say aye. This is the one where it's, if I know, I'm not, it's the relative.
This is one for him.
Yeah, they don't give a That's right. I did that over. Yes, you find your.